with caution.
What is up, my drunken fighters, and welcome back to another video. This time I'm gonna be rambling a little bit more about the normals you should utilize in your approach attempt, in your defense attempt. Pretty much what kind of normals are good with Jamie. Obviously we've talked about this a little bit a long time ago, but I feel like an updated version as of now would be interesting to you guys. And you know, a lot has changed since I made that video. It was pretty much during the beta. So yeah, a lot of my vision has changed about Jamie and how to approach him and anything like that. So yeah, just in general, what kind of button should you use in what kind of situations? What button is good for what situation and anything like that? And what buttons should you avoid? Straight off the bat, I want to talk about 2MP. That's probably the elephant in the room. There's probably not a lot of people that see the usage for it, but in my opinion, it is pretty good. So, the reason why I really like it is I got the hitbox viewer on for you guys as well, so I'm going to slow it down a little bit in the edited video. But the reason why I really like this move is because it's really disjointed. There's no hurt box around the 2MP, which means it's just a really good button to stop a lot of stuff. Drivers, for example, is really good for it. It's also really good for counter poking, for challenging as well. It's actually really good. The fact that 6 frames is also really useful. The only disadvantage about it sometimes is the range. So if you're going for a driver, if you want to stop a driver, the problem sometimes that can happen is you pressed it too fast, the range is too short, too stubby, and the opponent didn't even reach you with his drivers when you press it, and by the time he gets to you, your 2MP is already back into recovery and you're going to get hit. Other than that, it's a fantastic button. It does the most damage out of the normals. So as you can see, crouching medium kick 2MK only does 475. 2MP does 570. Now this is only at drink level 1, but you get the idea. It does way more damage. Next up is one of my favorite normals, and that is 5MK. So 5MK is actually a really good example as well. You can see here into the video that our hitbox changes completely, especially in the startup of the move. You can see that our hitbox is retracting a little bit backwards when we're doing this. So this is actually a really good move to go over certain normals that would normally be hitting you. So I got Ken here on 2MK. So I'm trying to find a range where we would get hit. Let's say over here. Okay, we're getting hit over there, so that's perfect. So we are now standing in a range where 2MK is going to hit us. So let's try and use 5MK when he's about to use 2MK. There we go. So this is a perfect example. So you can see that I'm going to slow it down a little bit as well, so it makes more sense. But you can see that the 5MK, our hurtbox is retracting a little bit, and our 5MK goes over the 2MK from Ken. And this is why this button is so godlike. It's a little bit on the slow side. It's 10 frames, but in my honest opinion, this is probably one of the best buttons Jamie has, because hurtbox wise it is fantastic, and the fact it's also special cancelable makes it super good. So utilize 5MK as much as you can. It is a really good button. And also it's the fact it's 10 frame startup. That means if you would use this in a poking / neutral situation and you are about to get jumped, you will still recover in time if to anti-air if they jump at you. So keep that in mind. Next up, obviously 2MK. 2MK is not the worst. He definitely doesn't have the best, but he also doesn't have the worst. It's still pretty good. It goes low. It has a decent amount of range. Be aware that you can use medium punch racket to combo, but in a blocking situation there will be a gap. As you can see here, there's a 2-frame gap when you're actually going for medium punch Rekka. So you should actually go for light punch, even though I'm not doing that. What you can also do is go for OD Rekka. That is also a true block swing, obviously, and that goes a little bit further, because in some situations, as you can see here, your light punch Rekka is going to whiff, leaving you wide open. So you can go for OD Rekka instead to stop that from happening. Yeah, it's, you know, like 2MK besides that is just pretty straightforward. There's nothing fancy about it. It's one of our good buttons that links from counter hit 5MP. Pretty much the general rule of thumb should be, if you're close enough and you get a counter hit 5MP, you should go into 2MP. If you're further than that, 2MK is your way to go. But always in terms of damage, it's gonna be better to go into 2MP. And 5HK is a pretty interesting one as well. The real big downside about it is its 15 frame startup. However, it has really good range as well. And so in certain situations, it is really good. The fact it actually creates a crumple effect is also really good. Sorry, I had a rough night. But yeah, 5HK, it does have its perks. The fact it's also special cancelable is really good as well. And it also is a true block string if you're going to go into Drive Rush, for example, into 2MP. That's a true block string. You can also do it into 5MP. So it creates a quite amount of block stun for you to DR into whatever you want. My go-to would be going back to 2MP. One of its perks is that it leaves you in throw range after the DR 2MP is blocked. So that's why, once again, 2MP is probably it has become one of my favorite buttons, to be honest, from Jamie's arsenal. Utilize it as much as you can. But yeah, but going back to 5HK, like I said, crumple effect, it has a good amount of range. The only downside is you have to be careful if you're fighting your opponent that is quite jumpy. You're gonna be too late to recover in time to anti-air their jump. So yeah, be aware when you are utilizing this. Besides that, it also has like a lot of good juggle perks. So if you're hitting someone anti-air, for example, and this is really cool, to be honest. There we go. So actually, if you hit someone with 5HK, you get a juggle out of it. You can do like palm, for example. Like anything works. It's all good. That was grounded. So you can see like there's a weird angle, but there we go. So you get juggle points from that when you hit them in the air. The best thing you could probably utilize this from is, I think there's like an option that you can do if they go for forward jump after a throw. Is it on block? Yeah, it's on block. That doesn't really help. Let's put it on wake up. Forward jump. So you should be able to anti-air them with that. Let's see. I don't really utilize this, but it's an option you can do. Maybe after a whiff throw. There we go. So yeah, so you can use this option after like a whiff throw attempt as an option select. You get the anti-air, and you can do other stuff as well. You know, you can Bakai with that. There's a lot of options you can do. The timing is kind of weird. There we go. Like heavy Bakai even works off of that, which is kind of cool. Which means that there's not going to be a lot of scaling on your super. 72%, still pretty decent. Completely meterless as well from the start. There we go, and you get them back into the other corner as well. So 5HK definitely has its perks, and the fact that you can actually juggle with it makes it really cool, in my opinion. Something that I don't utilize, but again, pretty good normal. Okay, moving on. 5LP. Now 5LP is actually a lot better than most people think and it is something that I've been utilizing a lot more in my recent gameplay than before. Usually my go-to button was 5LK, and I made a couple of videos as well where 5LK, buffering that into a light punch palm can be really good on counter hits if they're trying to poke at you, but 5LP actually has a little bit more range, and you can buffer it into target combo, for example. So, and the reason why that is pretty good, there's a couple of things. Actually, for drivers, it can work really well too. So let's say we're doing, go for drive rush, you know, like drive rush 5 HP, because like, you know, that's what every freaking Ken wants to do in his freaking game. 5LP is actually really good for stopping those. Can be a really good button. It's fast, a little bit faster than 2MP. And, you know, you got way more time to react. And, you know, when you hit them, your target combo comes out. So, you know, it's just really good. Besides that, it's also a really good button, in my opinion, to poke around with. It has a little bit more range than 5LK. So if you look at this, let's say over here, I think that's the sweet spot. You can see that 5LK doesn't hit, but 5LP does. So it does have slightly a little bit more range. The only big downside about this is sometimes when opponents are crouching, it will go over them and you'll get hit by, you know, a 2MP, a 2MK, anything like that. Most likely a 2MK, but it still is really good for range, and it's like, it's really good in terms of approach as well. So let's say, let's put him on block. Let's put Ken on block. Put him on crouching as well, because why not? And you know, you go for your go-to string or anything like that. You know, it's just like, you could do that, but you might get hit. You could actually go for 5LP instead, just to check them. You know, just something like this. Check them, and you look at the pushback it actually causes. So, really, the reason why I also really like this is if you put them on block reversal. Let's say crouching medium kick, for example. If you go for this max range, the pushback is enough to actually put you out of range for 2MK. Now you gotta be careful still, but that's the sweet spot. There it is. And then you can use what I talked about earlier, is use that 5MK to get that punish in the corner. So you can use it straight away. There you go. See? There it is. So I don't even have to perfectly space it, because the 5MK will make it so that it will automatically whiff. So let's say if I do it from here, oh, I get hit. But look at this. Oh, there it is. There's that magic of 5MK again. So like 5LP and 5MK work hand in hand with approaching. So the good thing about this is you can do your entire button of strings. You can still put pressure on them with 5LP, because if they get hit of the 5LP, even without you canceling it, they will be like, oh, I have to be careful, I'm getting hit. So you can actually do like, let's say you just do like this. Just approach slowly, and then out of nowhere you go for that 5MK, or you go for 5HK, whatever you like. It's just that the approach is sometimes going to be really, really good. So utilize lights a lot in your approach. I feel like they're really good, and not only just like by doing block strings, you can use them a lot just by playing neutral as well, you know, because they're like, oh, he's jabbing me, I need to press a medium kick, and then out of a sudden, bam, you go for 5MK, or he goes for 5HK and catch them off guard. So 5LP has definitely ranked up for me in my book, and I'm advising you guys to, you know, mess around with it, utilize it a lot more, and it's definitely going to improve your gameplay. Okay, moving on to 5HP. So I recently made a video about it. This one is super good. Brilliant drive rush with checking. It's super strong. Max damage starter with punish counter drive rush, 5 HP. It's 5 frame startup, but the thing is, sometimes in between those 3 hits, you can actually get hit. Especially between the second and the third, there's like a 4 frame gap. before the third one actually comes out. So sometimes in approaches, you're going to get hit. So if people are doing strings against you, you could be like, oh yeah, 5 HP is better than doing 5 LK or 5 LP because, you know, it's also a 5 frame starter, but I get 3 hits. True, but because of the recovery frames, sometimes I even get hit in between the first and the second hit, and that's only a 1 frame gap in there. It's crazy. So sometimes going for 5 LP in those situations and just buffer target combo as a counter poke or as a challenge is way better. However, that being said, it is still super godlike. It puts you on a -3 situation on block, so you can perfect parry. You can, if you hit them, you're in a plus situation, so you're +1, so you can go for throw range or go for another button or anything like that. You have to just watch my 5 HP video. I don't want to spend too much time on it because I did the entire explanation on a separate video. You can find it on my YouTube channel as well. Yeah, just go check that one out, how I feel about 5 HP. Now, pretty much the same can be said for probably my favorite button and probably one of the reasons I became quote-unquote famous at some point was the utilization of 4 HP or back HP, whatever you want to call it. It is still my favorite, super good. The only thing I can give you guys, because I made a video about this at some point, it's super strong, and it's super strong in Drive Rush as well. Not this version, by the way. My favorite version is still the drink level 0 to 2, which is this one. Just way better, less pushback. Pretty much gives you the same result, and the other one gives you, sometimes if you get a punish counter with this one, you're too far away to get like a 5 LP follow-up. Whereas this one will always guarantee you to give you a 5 LP follow-up because there's less pushback with this one. However, both have their perks, because the other one is way more fun with doing block strings because it grants you more pushback. So that one, for example, is really fun. You can actually get like a third one. The last one is really meaty after this block string. And you can actually, with both of them, you can bait crouching medium kick. So if we put this on 3, that's the first bait. But if you put it on 4, should be working as well. Oh no, it was a 5 MK. My bad. Because the startup is a little bit too much. You're getting hit in the startup of it, which sucks. But you can go into 5 MK after that. That's what it was. If you want to avoid both, I think you have to do this instead. Yes, that was it. So if you want to go for like a double and be able to whiff punish after the first 4 MP, you got to do 2 LP, 5 LK, 5 LK. If you want to go for the 5 MK bait, you can just do your regular 2 LP, 5 LK, 2 LP string. And in my opinion, that is still the better one. Because I feel like you can get a lot more out of 5 MK than 4 HP in some of those situations. However, one thing that I do want to give you guys as like a training tool, like a training tip, sometimes in some cases, if you're, let's say, low on drive gauge, or you want to push them into the corner, or you want to utilize a little bit more damage, try putting the opponent on random block. You can also put it on random counter or punish counter or whatever. It doesn't really matter. It does give you a lot more time. But try to buffer after 4 HP. You buffer your super. So you can see that in the left, my input commands. As you can see, after 2 HP, I buffered super, level 3 super. You can also do level 1 super. It's what you prefer. It's how much bar you have. However, the damage actually, imagine if you want to go into super, because like, as you can see, there's going to be a lot of scaling, because like the best thing you're going to get with a punish counter is going to be it's 5 frame advantage. So that means the only thing you can get is 2 LP into target combo or just straight into target combo. So if we do that, our super is only going to do 50% damage. So let's say let's test this out in damage, right? So it's like 3,890. Let's say if we also do the entire follow-up. There we go. We get like 4,362. All right, now let's see how much we get if we buffer straight into the level 3. Look at the difference already. That is almost 1,000 damage difference. So if you are looking to kill with 4 HP, then learn this buffer. So pretty much just buffer, as you can see, buffer the super animation. Once you see it hit, press that button and you're gonna get the 100 damage value out of your super. It's the same can be said with the level 4 drink level as well. You know, just use this. Sometimes, you know, I mess it up. You know, it's what happens. It's a little harder for me. That's kind of strange, but like talking and then trying to hit confirm and focus things becomes harder. But you know, you can just saw me hit it there. You can get a save jump out of this as well. Yeah, there's a ton of stuff you can do. So yeah, practice that. It's fantastic. It's super fun, and you know, you just feel like a Jamie God if you're gonna hit this in an actual match. Okay. Next up is I want to talk a little bit about 5MP, because this is probably one of the buttons that I actually don't really utilize that often in neutral, just because I feel like there's better options in terms of that. I probably would use 5MP way more if it had a little bit different frame data. So I talked about this with Hudson a little bit as well, like both of the changes that we want to see, and I'm actually surprised because out of all the changes I see on Twitter that people are asking for Jamie, none of them consist frame data. Almost none of them. They're almost like, oh, it's always about the drinks, it's about the special moves, yada yada yada. But in my opinion, if we could get a better 5MP, let's say only 1 frame. If it was 1 extra frame that we get on hit, or even on block as well, I would love that as well. But on hit, that would mean on punish counter, we would get a +10 advantage. And that would mean that we can actually get a 5MK follow-up afterwards. So if that would happen from this range, for example, I would be able to combo into 5MK. And that would make 5MP in neutral approach way better. But for now, the only thing you're going to get out of a punish counter from here is actually a sweep, which is still pretty good, but obviously 5MK would be way better. You'd be able from this range, for example, to get that into 5MK, into that, for example, and you know, into like whatever you want to do. That would be way better. So yeah, these hitboxes are messing me up, by the way. It's really hard to get the Momochi combo now. The timing is awkward. There we go. Yeah, so 5MP, I really don't utilize it that much in the neutral. I think there are better options, and I pretty much only use it as a combo tool, or if I have to get like a fast punish, so you can link into 2 HP. Moving on to HP, also nothing special. There's some things you can do with it. After drivers, you can actually get a, you can get a meaty 2 HP. On punish counter, you get that, so you can link it actually into 5MK. It's really stupid, but yeah, it works. On block, it's actually funny. It gives you a 0 frame advantage, which is actually interesting because normally it's -4. So it hits really meaty, which is kind of funny. It also leaves you at like a certain distance. I believe 2MK might whiff. Not entirely sure. No, it doesn't. So yeah, it doesn't really have any utilizations. I mean, maybe if you go into 4 HP afterwards. Yeah, there we go. So that it might be good for that, perhaps. That's kind of okay. Maybe it could also be. I'm not sure if what happens if you get a regular counter out of it. How much it is? It's still 10 frames actually, so you could still be able to get 5MK. That's actually kind of dope. The reason why that is actually kind of dope is 5MK allows you to. Huh. Okay, actually, fun fact, I'm gonna try this out in a ranked match at some point. That would be super funny. Yeah, that's not too bad. That's not too bad. This would be actually a really good setup for 4 HP now that I think about it. That's actually hilarious. That's hilarious. Wow, okay, okay. Yo, we got the setup, boys. We got the setup. Alright, that's hilarious. Okay. So yeah, 2 HP, you know, everyone knows it. It's more of a combo tool / anti-air tool. And maybe that's like a fun gimmick you can do. I know that there's a setup for it after I believe it's heavy. Was it that? Let's put you at 3 frames. I believe there was something with whipping like 2 HP that would make you like plus to get like a command grab, but I could be wrong. I'm not sure what it was. Oh, that one. Yeah. Okay, so after like light kick, arrow kick, if you whiff 2 HP, you get +6 for the command grab. That was it. I knew there was something, but I rarely utilize that one. But yeah, moving on. Okay, probably like one of my favorite moves still is Tensei Kick. It's cool. It is a really good anti-air tool. I talked about this before a little bit when utilizing this with the Trotec 2KK option select. I think that's where it's probably good for. Into like the side switch, you know, you can keep doing this. But yeah, that's what it's pretty good for. Besides that, you know, it's a really good anti-air tool if you're expecting the jump. Then that's really good. But besides that, yeah, it has its perks as well in combos, obviously. But it has a lot of downsides as well, and that's mainly because of the hitbox / hurtbox example, and also the fact where the anti-air invincibility kicks in. That's really bad about it as well sometimes. But regardless, still a really good tool, and probably one of my favorites to look at. It's super cool. But I really hope we can see some changes for the 2KK in the upcoming patch. Alright, let's talk about 6HK. 6HK, really good move. The range is godlike, let's be honest. On punish counter, that's where it actually really shines. On punish counter, it has 7 frames. If you do it with a drive rush, obviously you get 11 frames, so you can get like your regular 2 HP and everything like that. But this is where it shines, 7 frames, which means 2MK. So if you get regular counter hit, you get 5 frames, so you can do that. So this button just in general is just really good. It can stop fireball sometimes if you do it in time. Like, this is where a range where your opponent is not afraid to throw fireballs, so you can interrupt them with doing 6HK. really good. You can also buffer this into a level 1 super or level 3, kind of the similar situation with 4 HP. Just because you get the full damage if you go straight into level 3. And it's going to be more damage, and it's a similar situation, going to be more damage than going into target combo first. And get to save jump here. Yeah. Okay. But yeah, so it's a similar situation to 4 HP. If you want to go for damage, just go straight into level 3 and buffer the motion. If you see it hit, then you can just go into level 3 or level 1. That being said, there's some niche things that you can do after level 3, post level 3, where you can set it up for like a command grab or anything like that. But the main tool that I like to use it for is just the range. It's a really good button in neutral, so don't be afraid to use it. Don't be afraid to utilize it. And this is where the range is actually very interesting, because here you have two options. You can actually do 6HK, but you can also do, and you can get like a pretty decent palm from that situation. You can see that, yeah, we're safe. And that's the cool thing about it. So the range where 6HK actually hits is about the same range where you could use LP palm. So that's two options you can do from that range. But oh yeah. So if you space 6HK well, and this is a brilliant example. It's really good that Ken is already on 2MK. There we go. So once again, all of these buttons sometimes they really come together. And once again, 5MK is just a god in this situation, because 6HK is -3. So just like 5 HP, you can also use this to perfect parry, but the spacing can be very important as well. So yeah, in some situations you can challenge, but I would usually not advise you to do this, especially from close by. Like I said, it's gonna give you the same situation as 5 HP does. You can get the perfect parry, you can do whatever you want, but just like I showed you, if you space it well, you can actually use your 5MK to whiff punish their 2MK attempt, because they know it's a minus button. Even in drivers, they think it's a minus button, and they're gonna be mashing jab or buttons or anything like that. So yeah, one of my favorite buttons as well, super good. And yeah, just like I showed you, utilize this in the neutral because it's super good. And I think that's like pretty much everything I can say about normals for approaching. If you have any questions, just leave them in the comments below and I'll do my best to answer them. I just wanted to show you guys what kind of normals that I actually utilize, and what their perks are, what their advantages and disadvantages are in the neutral. Well, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something today. Like I said, if you have any questions, show them in the comments. Please like, share, and subscribe. You're going to help me out a ton, and I appreciate every single one of you guys for doing so. Don't forget, as usual, to stay cautious, and I will see you all in the next one. Take care.